I want to go to Frank Gaffney. Frank, you guys have been doing these incredible seminars every day about internal threats of how the CCP's gotten internally to us, and then you do an external threat. Walk us through, and I want to make sure everybody goes and gets the library and the archive, because where this is headed, you know, and I had Gordon Chang and Thayer on yesterday. Thayer's back today. You know, unrestricted warfare, which they've been doing very, very well on the cyber, the information, the economic, they're heading rapidly towards a kinetic confrontation with the United States. Frank Gaffney.
They are indeed. If I could just make it one additional point, Steve, you held up your book. The last item, I think it is, in the unrestricted warfare list listed in that book, dated 1999, was about adding biological warfare to the techniques that they use to take us down. Unrestricted warfare, not quite kinetic, but definitely murderous. About 1 million of us so far. ccp@war.com is a great place to get this book for free. You, Steve, mentioned that we're doing it every day. It just seems like it's every day. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thursdays we have drilled down now for, I think, about 3 months on those sorts of techniques, the various ways in which the Chinese Communist Party is very deliberately, very patiently, very comprehensively working to subvert us. And mostly we're unaware that that's even happening. You mentioned the financial sector's enabling of all of this. What's even more outrageous, which most of us, again, are even less clued up about, is that it's our money they're using to do this. It's not these oligarchs and tycoons. It's our money. It's our pension funds. It's our 401k plans and so on. When we add that into the mix, we decided that we would do a separate series at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays, 1 o'clock on Thursdays, 1 o'clock on Tuesdays Eastern Time, to look at who these guys are. Who are the people that are enabling this mortal enemy, as you said? The enemy's foreign, the enemy's domestic. We did a terrific program earlier this week in which we talked with a number of the folks who are very much, you know, rock stars in the war room pantheon. Brian Kennedy, Trevor Loudon, Kevin Freeman, Jerry Boykin, and Brad Thayer, who's going to be with us again shortly. This was about a kind of report card on what not just individuals or corporate leaders or others, the United States government is doing to enable the Chinese Communist Party's war against us. It was looking at what Team Biden is doing to enable our mortal enemy to pose an ever greater threat. It was stupendous, chilling, but stupendous, and really required viewing. And that can be obtained for free at presentdangerchina.org. Today, we don't have the video up just yet, but we will shortly. We did another one about this wolf warrior diplomacy, as it's called, as an example of the kinds of techniques that the Chinese are using to attack us. In this case, to attack us rhetorically. But the trouble is, as an extraordinary group of people, including Matt Pottinger, who was a Deputy National Security Advisor, 2 former undersecretaries, one of State, one of Defense, Bob Joseph and Doug Feith, Robert Charles, an Assistant Secretary of State, and our own Grant Newsom, Colonel Grant Newsom, talked about the fact that we are not pushing back when they use belligerent rhetoric, when they demean our country, when they attack our people, for being racist and everything else.
The ambassador to the United States the Chinese ambassador to the United States just took 90 minutes at a press conference in the nation's capital of the United States of America, not Beijing, to essentially lecture the American government like it's a tributary state. Frank Gaffney.
That was the most recent example of this phenomenon of wolf warrior diplomacy, and you've talked about it here on the program, Stephen. It inspired that particular webinar, and what the consensus of these very experienced national security practitioners were: if you don't push back when a bully is punching you in the nose, rhetorically at the moment in this case, you're going to get a lot more punches in the nose. Count on it. And so what we really, I think, laid out here is not only that there's a grievous shortfall in protecting our vital interests, but it is going to translate into more belligerent behavior as well.
Frank Gaffney, closing observations. We got General Bolduc coming on in a second. General Bolduc, you should know, which did such a great job in the last year, and we're going to play a bunch of this tomorrow as we talk about extraction under fire 1 year after the heroic 13 that gave their life at the Abbey Gate. General Bolduc went yard last night in this debate in New Hampshire. I don't know who out there in the New Hampshire establishment doesn't think Don Bolduc can stand up and bench press anybody on that stage as a political figure. So we're going to put that one to bed. Frank Gaffney.
Truly great American. Steve, I just wanted to close this out. The thing that the Financial Times hasn't reckoned with is everybody's going to lose all of their money when the Chinese go to war with us. They better wake up. There's a game going on now that I just wanted to present as signal, not noise, Steve. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that they're very close now, the so-called Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, PCAOB, with fashioning some new scam to allow the Chinese to continue to list companies in our country without subjecting them to a full audit here in the United States. What's the scam? They're going to let them do it in Hong Kong. What's wrong with that? Well, first of all, it pretends that there is a Hong Kong that's different from China now. Yeah. That's not so. Second of all, it puts our auditors at risk. Who's going to go over there and conflict with what the Chinese say? Nobody. And third, of course, there's no substitute for doing full audits with all of the work papers here. That must be the bottom line. No substitutes. Don't even think about it, PCAOB.
Okay, we'll get to more of this in the next couple of days. What's the social media, Frank?
So many, so few time. ccpatwar.com for the book and for where you can get the brief about China. PresentDangerChina.com.
It's outrageous. We're financing them, and they're trying to look at every workaround to get